So that is the next category. Then there is a beautiful category. We've heard already the three. Imamun Adil, Shabun Nasha'a fi ibadatillahi ta'ala, Rajulun qalbuhu mu'allaqun bil masajid, Rajulani tahabba fillahi ijtama'a alayhi wa tafarraqa alayhi. Two men or two people, two sisters as well, who love each other solely for the pleasure of Allah. Brother, I love you for the sake of Allah. There is nothing. My love for you is not because after a few days I'm going to ask you to assist me financially, or I'm going to ask you to do this or to do that. No. Or I want you to cook for me, or I want you to, for example, give me a lift. No. My love for you is solely because I see that your goal and my goal is the same. You want Jannah, I want Jannah. So I love you because by me loving you, I get Jannah. We are focused on the same thing. We had the World Cup in South Africa in 2010. I'm sure you heard that. What happened? People showed so much unity. For a ball being kicked for 90 minutes, they would get lifts with each other to go because their aim was to watch this team play that team. Germany playing France. I don't even know if those teams actually played. I'm just giving you an example. Germany playing France. They would travel 600 kilometers. People traveled from across the globe because their aim was one. So they all flew in and they all had assistance of one another. Are you going to the match? Okay, can you give me a lift? Yes, come. Do you know him? No, I don't. So what's the common factor? A ball. The common factor is a ball. And the common factor is a man who is known as Messi. I don't know how messy he might be. Imagine someone Messi is a common factor. And here you have the Deen. It's not a ball. You have the Quran. You have Jannah in front of you. And we still cannot unite. Allahu Akbar. People have united behind a ball because they wanted to go. You know, we saw something amazing happening. The builders built. Those who built the stadiums built them. The roads built them. The infrastructure, they built it. They did the hotels. They did the airports. They updated and upgraded everything that today they are in debt of so many billion, if not some trillion. But that was their aim. We want to host the World Cup. We want it to be a success on one hand, and on the other hand, we want to watch the match. So you choose the matches you want and you get there, as we said, by hook or crook. Allahu Akbar. So brothers and sisters, you love each other for the sake of Allah. Give each other a lift to paradise by loving one another for the sake of Allah. Brother, today, my brothers and sisters, we look at the smallest difference to disunite us. Why don't we look at the thousands of commonalities to unite us? Allahu Akbar. Today people want to break marriages because of one thing that went wrong, but they will not see that our forefathers have taught us that instead of looking for one thing that will break it, look for the thousands of things that will make it. Or even look for one thing that will make it. Why do you want to look for one thing that will break it? This is why nowadays I get very frightened when I am officiating a marriage. I ask Allah, Ya Allah, let this marriage last. That is now a dua that we have to make. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us unity. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us understanding, happy homes, happy marriages. My brothers and sisters, subhanallah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open our doors. We were saying, those who love one another for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who help each other solely for the pleasure of Allah or to achieve the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they indeed deserve that status on the day of judgment. So that is a presentation as well. What have you presented? I have presented the fact that I loved my fellow Muslims solely because we shared the shahada. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to help one another. When you love someone for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will be able to easily correct them. Sometimes when we correct a person, they feel bad. Sometimes when I want to tell you, brother, what you have done is actually wrong because of this, people feel very bad. That's because we don't love one another for the pleasure of Allah. We do not trust one another for the sake of Allah. If you trust me and I trust you, and you love me and I love you for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what will happen? We will come together only discussing the obedience of Allah and in the love for Allah, and we will leave each other in the same condition. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us goodness, and may He make us from those who realize and understand.